This video will demonstrate how to create an intake and assessment session or a class within the database. First, we will review the steps on how to create an intake and assessment session using CitySpan's demo site. First, click the Intake Assessments tab in your left-hand menu. Then click the yellow Add Intake Assessment tab in the top right-hand corner of your screen. This will route you to a form which assists you in creating the session. Fill out all the form items with the information related to your intake and assessment session. One thing to note, the name of your intake and assessment session will auto-populate with your organization's name and the assessment type. So for the demo site, all you need to enter in the intake and assessment name box are the words intake and assessment session. The form, once completed, will auto-populate to the full assessment name, which would be demo site, ABE, or ESL, intake and assessment session. Additionally, the dates you enter in the registration period start date and end date must be within a date range that occurs before the intake and assessment session will occur. For example, if the session will occur on July 15th, the registration start date should be on or around the 1st of July. And the registration period end date should be on or around or before July 15th. This is important because your intake and assessment session will not appear in the scheduler outside of this registration period date. Once all the form items are filled out, click the Save and Proceed button located at the top right corner of the form. You will be routed to the date scheduler form. For an intake and assessment session, you will click the single date link. This page, you'll follow steps 1 through 4, and then you'll click Add Single Date. The page will refresh, and the confirmation of a successfully added schedule will show up in green text. Click Done, and you'll be routed to the intake and assessment session page, where you can review all of the information you just entered. Now, creating a class is very similar to creating an intake and assessment session. To create a class, you'll first click on the Classes tab in your left-hand menu. Then click the yellow Add Class tab in the top right-hand corner of your Classes page. Fill out every form item, and remember the course name will auto-populate with your organization's name in either ESL or ABE. To go over the auto-population course name title for classes, you can type anything you want in here, but some common examples are beginner literacy or intermediate literacy, or math class, or maybe even GED prep class. Anything outside of those very simple titles is unnecessary because the form will auto-populate the rest of the title once you click Save and Proceed. Before I finish filling this out, I want to go over a few items. First is the orientation period Many class providers require that learners complete an orientation period before the start of the class. To avoid any scheduling confusion, we've created this question so learners can be made aware that the start date of the class might actually be the beginning of the orientation period, and the class will start soon after. So make sure this question is answered, even though it is optional. Next, when selecting NRS levels, make sure to select all that apply. If your class will accept learners who tested within a range of NRS levels, like 1, 2, and 3, the form needs to reflect that because a learner's class options during the referral process are based on their documented NRS levels matching a class's documented NRS levels. After the form is completed, click Save and Proceed, and it will reroute you to the class date scheduler. For classes, you'll click the multiple dates link and follow steps 1 through 4 on the next page. You can customize your daily schedule based on the day of the week and the time of day. When finished, click Add Multiple Dates, and you'll be routed back to the new class page. You have now created both an intake and assessment session and a class.